In today's video, I want to share with you why I believe that anger is something that you can use to your advantage. That anger is a deeply misunderstood emotion, that it's not about the anger itself that causes problems with anger, but about your relationship with it. And by the end of this video, I want you to have a clear understanding of how you can start using anger as something that will help you in life to create more peace, paradoxically, and to get more results and success in your life. Hi, my name is Eric Coplen, and welcome to the Music of Life. I am a life and business elevation coach, and I firmly believe, deep within my soul, that having the courage to be your most authentic self is the single most powerful thing that you can do to improve your life and to make our world a better place. And one of the most authentic feelings or emotions that you can have as a human is that of anger. Okay, so what is anger? And why do we feel it? Seems like a silly question. It just happens sometimes, right? Someone says something that pisses us off, someone cuts us off in traffic, and we feel anger. But have you ever asked yourself the question, why? Why do we really feel that? And is there anything to be learned if we take a deeper look into why we feel and express anger? Well, as it turns out, there's a lot to be learned if you take a look at it. One of the coolest things I've ever come across is called the emotional expansion chart. And this chart shows you how emotions go from a contracted, dark, dense feeling all the way to the expanded emotions like bliss, joy, love, and peace. And you'll see from this chart that anger kind of fits in the mix. And you might think anger is one of the lowest emotions, but the truth is it's not. And the clue to understanding where anger comes from is seeing the emotions that lie underneath it. Because anger is really, like all emotions, simply a messenger. Emotions are messengers, and we have not been taught in a Western society that's very materialistic, very science-based, how to really go in and explore our inner worlds and understand what our emotions are trying to teach us. Well, good for you. I've been spending my whole life doing that. I'm a Pisces. I don't know what to tell you, man. I've been investigating my own emotions my whole life, and there's a lot of beautiful things that you can uncover when you understand where they come from and how they're supposed to be used. If we take a look at the emotional expansion chart, you're going to notice that anger resides just above other emotions like grief, fear, shame, apathy, guilt. What anger is really telling you is that in some way in your life, you feel powerless. And that's coming from a much, much deeper place in you, deep in your unconscious mind, that was probably installed through things that happened or the environment you were placed in when you were innocent as a child and only reinforced your decisions throughout the years of one of the big four lies of not feeling like you're capable, like you're enough, like you're worthy, or that you're lovable. And so when a scenario happens in your world, in your life, that reminds you of that feeling of guilt, shame, or powerlessness, getting fired from a job and you feel powerless to do anything about it, getting broken up with in a relationship and feeling worthless. It can really feel like a vicious cycle where you keep bouncing between anger and grief and feeling good and getting triggered and all that. The reason that happens is because you're not getting the life lesson that the anger is trying to show you. I'm a firm believer that emotions themselves they emanate from deeply held beliefs or perceptions about the world. And then the emotional energy is something that we have as a response, call it a vibration, okay, a response that we have to that belief. So by understanding this and choosing to kind of reverse engineer emotion, you're going to arrive at deep truths about yourself. And that's where your opportunities lie, because you can't change the emotion unless you change the belief. Beliefs can be changed. Beliefs can be based on new understandings. You can unlearn things that aren't true and install things that are. Find greater wisdom in life, do that, and you'll find that your emotions will change along with the changing of your beliefs. This is why people that really get on the personal growth journey, reading good books, having good spiritual practices in their life, meditation, contemplation, pondering, going out and actually trying new things, put themselves in challenging environments to see what they're capable of. often create more peace and abundance in their life, because what's happening is they're learning to burn off or reprogram who they believe they were, or get a new understanding and a deep understanding of what they're capable of. It just comes with a sense of calm and peace when you have a sense of knowing that you're capable. And so herein lies the real secret with emotions, and especially with something as intense and as dense and fiery as anger. It's almost the last thing you want to do, but choosing to be proactive with anger instead of reactive is the difference between heaven and hell, okay? If you're reactive to anger, what you're going to do is you're going to project that anger out. You're going to vomit it out into the world. You're going to spew it out onto other people, and all they're going to do is mirror it back to you. You're going to behave in alignment with that anger, and then you're going to get a response from the world and people responding to you with anger. It's kind of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth kind of a situation. And then that's just going to drive you deeper and deeper and deeper into your victimization, where you believe that the world is against you. Okay, you can literally create hell for yourself when you choose not to get the life lesson that your emotions are trying to tell you, especially contracted, dense, fiery emotions like anger. So violence and war and chaos and abuse that you see like often in relationships are really coming from shame and guilt and powerlessness. Take in a relationship, you have on one hand narcissistic energy, where it's pure competing, conquering, and controlling energy, versus they are a good magnet for victim energy, which is weak and powerless and lacks boundaries. What they share in common, they seem worlds apart, like opposites, but the common thread that bonds them energetically is that of shame, guilt, apathy, grief. They both believe down deep that they are not enough, not lovable. And so they each have their different strategy for expressing that non-lovability or that unworthiness. The narcissist chooses to control things because that's the only way it can keep what it wants close to it is through manipulation and control. And the extreme, lack of boundaries and the victim over here goes into kind of a freeze mode, right? Instead of a flight or fight. The lack of boundaries is a way for them to play it safe. And ironically, it leads them into, these toxic situations. All that comes as a consequence of not knowing how, or just actually choosing not to understand why you're feeling the emotion in the first place and what there is to be learned down deep. So what are some of the takeaways? What are some ways that you can start applying this into your life? I firmly believe that anger is meant to be experienced, that the actual experience of having that feeling, that fire well up in you shouldn't be something that you don't pay attention to. I would even argue that there's times you should conjure it up in yourself, especially if you're a person who lacks boundaries, especially if you're a person that knows that you have developed this personality and reality where people perceive you as kind of weak or a victim. You actually are repressing a lot. You have a lot of shame. That's like a cage that's holding in that anger. And it's healthy in your case to get pissed. Like start getting pissed, not at other people, but at the lie that you're telling yourself. And the lie is that you're not enough. The lie is that you're not deserving. And that's what's enforcing this this lack of boundaries. And you're going to be in a whirlwind or a toxic relationship with yourself because you don't know how to resolve that anger. It's almost like you're not giving yourself permission to be pissed. You're not giving yourself permission to let that well up in you. You can almost think of it like an energy that starts low and anger will come up. You'll often feel it in the belly, where our adrenal glands are. And if you're into like chakras or energy systems, this is going to be in your third energy center. It's kind of your second and third. And what's interesting about that space is it comes right before the heart. Okay. So what I do is when I'm feeling anger is I want to first ask myself, why am I choosing to feel the anger? This puts me into a proactive mode. And listen, if you need to cool off a little bit, I understand. Just don't hurt people. Don't do something stupid. Don't break things. Don't do that kind of thing. You want to express it, not repress it, but you don't want to make it worse by vomiting it onto other people. So take the space that you need, and you need to, think about the last time you got angry and ask yourself, why did I choose to feel that anger? Where in my life do I feel powerless? Where am I displeased or not happy with the direction my life is in? And the paradox of this is the feeling of anger coming up about this is something you're going to naturally want to resist because it's going to be less comfortable. There's a part of you that's probably been trained to let it bottle in, right? Or you're a person that expresses it really easily, but you just vomit it on the people and you're not really getting down deep. And maybe for you, it's harder to feel the fact that you're really kind of ashamed. You feel a little powerless and you're not wanting to admit that to yourself or to others. Okay, so you get an inflated ego. You're protecting your ego. So you really have to take some effort here to be really honest with yourself and ask yourself, where is this coming from? Can you see how this might be a pattern in your life? Can you see other times where you've been triggered and you've had a similar feeling? Notice how it feels in your body. You're probably going to spot a pattern here. This is not the first time you've had a situation have kind of the same meaning for you. And if you're seeing a pattern, congratulations, you've now discovered an opportunity to grow in your life. And when you're doing this and you discover that you do actually have some shame and some guilt down deep, the irony is that it's nothing to be ashamed of, that this is a normal and healthy human experience. It's the lack of permission to express this and investigate it, and the feelings of fear we have about thinking that it's going to cause us to lose face in society, be perceived as weak or be taken advantage of, is where we get this fear and we don't want to open up. But this is why meditation and spiritual work is about a deep inner practice. You can start this within yourself and then move it out from there to your personal relationships with family, loved ones, and friends, and literally train them how you want to be treated. Train them by just not tolerating things that aren't in alignment with what you believe and know and deserve. When you begin to accept the core truth of who you are, which is that you will never find any evidence. There's no real evidence that you are not enough or worthy of love, that you're not worthy of accepting who you are. And if you're really having a struggle with believing what I'm saying right now, I want you to ask yourself this question. And if you can't answer this one for yourself, ask some of your closest friends that you trust. Okay. What are you good at? What do you have a natural aptitude for? What would people say are some of your good qualities? Can you identify with those, and can you begin to see that these are opportunities for you to share more of yourself in a more beautiful way? If you want a happy life, learn how to switch from being in service of yourself and start to switch into being in service of others. And this can show up in many, many wonderful ways. Your natural talents, your natural gifts, your natural aptitudes, your natural way of being is literally a gift to others. And by you not accepting that, you are holding that gift back from others. And this is what's creating unhappiness in your life. And I feel that as I say it, I've been there. This is a lifelong process, okay? I go through this all the time and discover that I've been holding myself back and not sharing the truth and the beauty of who I am. We all have something to share just because we are. And it's so damn simple that it's one of the hardest things to believe. And you can't arrive there purely intellectually. That's why you have to take what I'm telling you right now and you have to bring this into a spiritual practice. You need to read books that are good. You need to listen and watch videos that are inspiring. You need to get in touch with your soul and get into your heart and have your conversations with God, have your conversations with yourself. Confess the truth of what you want and what you desire. Own your gifts, okay? Show yourself, express those gifts, and you will elevate your life by doing that. And your transformation will become an inspiration to others. This is why I mean and firmly believe that having the courage to be your most authentic self is the single most powerful thing you can do to make your life better and the world a better place We need more people in our day and age to have the courage to share their gifts, okay, from a place of service and with unconditional love. And that starts with loving yourself. So with that, the next time you get triggered, the next time you feel that fire in your belly, that anger, choose to not project it. Choose to get proactive with it, investigate it. Have the courage to look deeply within yourself and ask yourself why you are choosing to feel that way and what is it trying to tell you. And if you will do this as a practice in your life, you're going to find yourself able to move into your heart, and it paradoxically creates more peace, more joy, more abundance, and more love in your life. So use anger wisely. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you leave a comment below and ask me any questions. I pay attention to the comments. I want to know what you guys have to say, what you have to think, and I base a lot of what I share on this channel on what you guys are telling me in the comments. So with that, I just want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you found value in this video, and I'll see you next time.